And now I'd like to turn to a message from Steve Ubel. He is the president and CEO of PhRMA, who is our underwriter for today's event. Steve?
Thanks so much, Jean. PhRMA is pleased to be sponsoring today's Atlantic Digital event featuring speakers at the front line of fighting COVID-19. I must say one of the bright spots has been to see the entire healthcare ecosystem rally on so many fronts, whether it's the FDA expediting approval of diagnostic tests, or hospitals and frontline healthcare workers selflessly treating those infected by the disease, and policymakers who are acting to address the economic fallout caused by the virus. For our part, our companies are really literally working around the clock on 4 key fronts. First, our companies are partnering with other life sciences companies to enhance our testing capacity. One of our member companies, Genentech, you'll hear from Dr. Lee a bit in a moment, is running thousands of tests on their Roche platform. Our companies are also donating laboratory equipment and supplies. And one of our companies even tapped their in-house laboratory capabilities to develop a drive-through testing center. So testing is one area where our companies are very focused. Secondly, our companies are screening their vast global libraries of existing medicines. These are medicines that have already been approved by the FDA for other conditions to repurpose those treatments for the purpose of treating COVID-19. And there are already more than 300 such trials underway, and many of these medicines are being made available to patients today in the auspices of clinical trials. And there are really 3 key areas that are the focus of much of this research, whether it's antimalarials, antivirals that have been developed for Ebola or HIV, for example, or immunologic agents that are used to try to modulate the body's overactive immune system, which compromises the lung during a respiratory illness. Third, our companies are working to develop new therapies and treatments. One of the most promising areas of focus there is antibody-based treatments. And there are 2 main aspects of that, which you'll hear more about from our additional speakers. But convalescent plasma, where you're taking antibodies from those individuals who've already been exposed and infected but have been recovered, using that plasma that contains antibodies to help those infected fight the disease. The other approach, which is quite similar, would be to genetically create these antibodies, and they would be used as a biologic medicine. And there's very promising work underway on both of those fronts. And then finally, our companies, as you know, are very focused on developing a vaccine. There are now more than 70 programs underway, with several already in human trials. And that's really important. We're going to need a lot of shots on goal to make sure that we find a vaccine that is very effective, given the vast number of individuals who are going to need to be inoculated. And I must say, as you think about those 4 fronts, I am cautiously optimistic that the industry is going to deliver for 3 key reasons. The first is the industry has decades of experience and deep scientific knowledge regarding similar viruses and diseases. So think about SARS and MERS and Zika, Ebola, and our companies are tapping that vast scientific knowledge to address this current COVID-19 crisis. Our companies have also invested for years in cutting-edge technologies that are shortening the amount of time it takes to get from the bench to the bedside, from the preclinical stage to actually having a new therapy or vaccine available to patients. You may recall that during the SARS virus a decade ago, it took almost 2 years to get the first candidate vaccine into human trials, whereas today with COVID-19, as I said, you already have a few candidate vaccines already in human trials, less than 2 or 3 months from the first known case. And then finally, as Ron mentioned, manufacturing is going to be a key challenge, and our industry alone has the unique capability to scale and manufacture any new treatment or vaccine. So in closing, I did want to also mention affordability. I must say our industry is keenly aware of what's at stake in this environment and is deeply committed to providing these new treatments and a vaccine, making them affordable and broadly accessible to patients who need them. In previous pandemics, affordability has not been an issue, and I don't expect it will be an issue this time around. So Jean, thank you very much. Thank the Atlantic for the opportunity to sponsor today's discussion. I'll turn it back to you.